Some secrets aren't meant to be heard. But what if the right person hears them anyway? Isabela thought she was too late, 27, still holding on to something everyone else had given away. One night, a few drinks, and she said it out loud. The truth she'd been carrying for years. She didn't know her boss was listening. She didn't know those words would change everything. Not because he judged her, but because he couldn't stop thinking about her. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below. I love knowing where you all are. If you're here for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. Seriously, it keeps these stories coming and means more than you think. The Belltown social never got loud enough to forget where you were. That was the thing about company happy hours in Seattle. They stayed polite. Background music you could still hear yourself think over. Conversations that never quite reached a shout. The kind of place where even after 3 drinks, people remembered they had work in the morning. Isabela Moore sat in the corner booth, nursing her 3rd glass of wine and feeling it. 27. And she still couldn't handle alcohol like her friends could. The room had that soft blur around the edges now, the kind that made her forget to monitor every word before it left her mouth. Her co-worker Maya leaned in, already 2 drinks ahead. "Girl, I'm just saying, Tyler from accounting, he's been staring at you for like 20 minutes. "No, he hasn't." Isabela scratched at her temple, felt the bobby pins holding her twist out in place. She'd done her hair that morning before work, spent 40 minutes on it in the bathroom mirror of her apartment in Capitol Hill. The humidity from the rain had already started making it frizz by lunch. Now at 7 p.m. she could feel it expanding. Tyler stares at everyone. Not like that he doesn't. Isabela took another sip. The wine was too sweet, the kind bars served when they wanted to move inventory. Her mom would have called it church wine, cheap enough for communion, strong enough to make you confess. She set the glass down harder than she meant to. It made a sound against the wood table. "I'm not interested in Tyler," she said. "Okay, so who are you interested in?" "Nobody." Liar. The bass from the speaker overhead hummed through the booth. Someone had picked a playlist that was trying too hard, indie covers of songs that didn't need covering. Isabela could smell the guy at the next table's cologne, something expensive and too much of it. Her edges were sweating. "I'm serious," Isabela said. "I'm not looking for anything right now." Maya gave her that look, the one that said she wasn't buying it. "You've been saying that since I met you. That was 2 years ago. Maybe I'm just picky. Or maybe you're scared." The words hit different than they should have. Isabela felt them settle somewhere in her chest, heavy and true. She finished the wine. Her mouth tasted like artificial grape and regret. "I'm not scared," she said. But even she didn't believe it. Maya's expression softened. She reached across the table, squeezed Isabela's hand. "Hey, I didn't mean it like that. I know. You never talk about this stuff. Like, ever." Isabela looked down at their hands. Maya's nails were done, stiletto acrylics painted burgundy. Isabela's were natural, trimmed short, no polish. She'd tried acrylics once. They'd lasted 3 days before she peeled them off in a panic, feeling like her hands weren't her own. "There's not much to talk about," she said. "Everyone has something to talk about." The wine was making her warm. Or maybe it was the heating that never worked right in this place, always too hot or too cold, never anywhere in between. She could feel her pulse in her temples. "Sometimes I feel like I'm behind," Isabela heard herself say. Maya tilted her head. "Behind what?" "Everyone." She laughed, but it came out wrong, too sharp at the edges. "I never lived it, you know? That thing everyone talks about like it's just normal, like it's something that just happens." "What thing?" Isabela pulled her hand back, picked at the cocktail napkin under her empty glass. It was already falling apart, little white pieces sticking to her fingers. Real love, the kind where you trust someone enough to just be yourself, where you're not worried they're gonna leave or lie or just disappear. The napkin tore. She kept picking at it anyway. "I always thought it would happen naturally," she continued, "like I'd meet someone and it would just make sense. But it never did. And now I'm 27 and I still—" She stopped, shook her head. "Never mind, this is stupid." "It's not stupid." "It is." Isabela pushed the glass away. "I sound like I'm in high school." "You sound human." I sound pathetic. No. Maya's voice got firm. You sound like someone who wants something real. That's not pathetic. That's actually kind of beautiful. Isabela felt her throat get tight. She blamed the wine. I always dreamed about giving that to someone who actually cared. You know, like really cared. Not just because they wanted something from me, but because they wanted me. She laughed again, covered her face with her hands. God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. It's just me, Maya said. I know. But Isabela dropped her hands, looked at her friend. Sometimes I think I waited too long, like I missed some window, and now it's just weird, being this age and still holding on to something like that. It's not weird. It feels weird. Isabela. Maya leaned forward. You're allowed to want what you want. There's no expiration date on that. The music changed, something slower, sadder. Isabela could hear the rain starting outside, tapping against the windows that looked out onto First Avenue. Seattle in November, always raining, always grey, always making you feel things you didn't want to feel. I'm still a virgin, she said quietly. Maya didn't flinch, didn't laugh, just nodded like Isabela had told her the weather. Okay. You're not surprised? Should I be? Most people are. I'm not most people. Maya finished her drink. And honestly, I think it's brave. Brave would be doing something about it. Brave is knowing what you want and not settling for less. Isabela wanted to believe that. She did. But sitting there in that too-hot bar with her hair frizzing and her edges sweating and the wine making everything feel too honest, she mostly just felt tired. I don't know, she said. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Or maybe you're exactly right and everyone else is wrong. Isabela smiled despite herself. You're drunk. Not that drunk. Maya stood, wobbled slightly. Okay, maybe that drunk. Come on, let's get out of here before I say something I'll regret. They gathered their coats, left cash on the table. The bartender, some guy with a man bun who looked like he'd moved here from Portland, barely looked up. Outside, the rain had picked up. Not a downpour, just that constant Seattle drizzle that soaked you without you noticing. Isabela stood under the awning, watched the streetlights reflect in the puddles. The air smelled like wet asphalt and someone's cigarette smoke. Down the block, the light rail rumbled past, heading south toward Capitol Hill. You need a ride? Maya asked, already pulling up Uber on her phone. I'm good. Gonna walk. In this? It's only like 6 blocks. Maya looked at her for a long moment, then hugged her. Tight. The kind of hug that said more than words could. When she pulled back, her eyes were serious. You're gonna find it, she said. That thing you're looking for. I know you will. Isabela nodded, not trusting her voice. She watched Maya get into her Uber, the taillights disappearing down the wet street. Then she started walking, hands shoved in her coat pockets, rain misting against her face. She didn't notice the man standing near the back of the bar, didn't see him watching her through the window, expression unreadable. Didn't know that he'd heard every word, didn't know that everything had just changed. The rain kept falling. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She didn't check it. Lucas Bennett didn't do company happy hours. In the 12 years since he'd started Bennett Solutions, back when it was just him and 2 developers in a shared workspace in Pioneer Square, he'd made it to maybe 3. They made him uncomfortable, the forced casualness. Everyone pretending the power dynamics disappeared just because they were drinking beer instead of coffee. But his VP of operations had insisted, you gotta show face, Lucas. People think you don't care. So there he was, standing near the back of the Belltown Social at 6:30 on a Thursday, nursing a whiskey he didn't want, wondering how long he had to stay before it qualified as showing face. 39, and he still felt like he was playing dress-up in his own life. CEO, millionaire, the kind of words that looked good in Forbes profiles, but felt hollow at 2 a.m. when insomnia hit and the silence got too loud. He was about to leave when he heard her voice, not loud. Actually, he almost missed it. But something about the tone, soft, honest, a little broken, made him stop. The booth was partially blocked by a support beam, speakers mounted above it pumping out some indie garbage that all sounded the same to him. He could see part of the table, 2 women, wine glasses catching the light. He wasn't trying to eavesdrop. Not at first, but then he heard, "Sometimes I feel like I'm behind." Lucas shifted slightly. From this angle he could see her profile. Dark skin, hair pulled back in some style he didn't have words for. She was picking at a napkin, tearing it into small pieces. "I never lived it, you know," she continued. "That thing everyone talks about like it's just normal." Her friend said something he couldn't hear. "Real love," the woman answered. "The kind where you trust someone enough to just be yourself." Lucas felt something in his chest tighten. "I always thought it would happen naturally, but it never did. And now I'm 27 and I still—" She stopped, shook her head. Even from here he could see the frustration in the gesture. I always dreamed about giving that to someone who actually cared, you know? Like, really cared. Not just because they wanted something from me, but because they wanted me." Lucas's hand tightened around his glass. "I'm still a virgin," she said, quieter now. The words hung in the air, not shameful, not desperate, just true. He should have walked away, should have given her the privacy she deserved. But he couldn't move, couldn't stop listening to this stranger articulate something he'd forgotten people still felt. Genuine hope mixed with genuine fear of never finding what they were looking for. When she stood to leave, he finally saw her face clearly. She was beautiful, but that wasn't what held him. It was the vulnerability in her expression, quickly masked as she pulled on her coat. The way she hugged her friend like she was holding onto something solid in a world that kept shifting. He watched her walk out into the rain, phone buzzing in her pocket, ignored. Lucas stood there for another 5 minutes after she left. His whiskey had gotten warm. Outside, the rain picked up, drumming against the windows. Someone bumped into him, apologized. He barely noticed. Monday morning hit like it always did. Too early, too bright, too much. Isabela sat at her desk in the administrative office on the 8th floor, staring at her computer screen and seeing nothing. The weekend had been a blur of regret and overthinking. She'd replayed Thursday night 100 times, each replay making her cringe harder. Why had she said all that? To Maya, of all people. Sweet as she was, Maya worked in marketing. Marketing people talked. It was literally their job. Her phone buzzed. Text from Maya. "Stop spiraling. I can feel it from here." Isabela smiled despite herself, typed back, "I'm fine, liar, I'm at work. So, come get coffee. I have emails they can wait. 4th floor. Now." Isabela sighed, pushed back from her desk. Her supervisor, Linda, barely looked up from her own screen as Isabela passed. The 8th floor was always quiet, tucked away from the energy of the main offices. That's what she liked about it. Nobody bothered her up here. The elevator took forever. Someone had left a coffee stain on the floor that nobody had cleaned up yet. The building was nice. One of those renovated warehouses in Sodo with exposed brick and too many windows. But details like that always slipped through. 4th floor was different. Open concept, glass conference rooms, the kind of space that looked good in recruitment materials. Isabela felt out of place the second she stepped out. Maya was waiting by the coffee station, 2 cups already poured. "Took you long enough." "I have work." "So do I. Doesn't mean I do it." Maya handed her a cup. "You look tired." "Thanks. I mean it. You sleep?" Isabela took a sip. The coffee was terrible, that burnt taste you got from a pot that had been sitting too long. "Some." "You're still thinking about Thursday?" "No." Isabela. "Okay, yes." She set the cup down on the counter, harder than she meant to. I can't believe I said all that out loud in public. It was a bar. Everyone was drunk. Nobody cares. I care. Why?" Maya leaned against the counter, crossed her arms. "Because you told the truth? Because you're human? Because it was private. It was honest." Isabela looked away. Through the windows, she could see the Seattle skyline. Buildings stacked against gray sky. Rain was coming. Always raining in November. She missed Atlanta sometimes, missed the way summer felt endless, missed sweet tea and her mama's collard greens and streets she knew by heart. "I just don't want people looking at me different," she said quietly. "Nobody's looking at you different. You don't know that." "I do, actually." Maya picked up her own coffee. Because I asked around. Nobody heard anything, it was just us. Isabela felt something in her chest loosen slightly. Really? Really? You promise? Girl, I promise. Maya bumped her shoulder against Isabela's. Now stop overthinking and drink your terrible coffee. They stood there for a moment, quiet. Someone's phone rang in a nearby cubicle. The espresso machine hissed, steaming milk. Normal office sounds, normal Monday morning. Hey, Maya said suddenly. Did you see the email? What email? About the all-hands meeting. Bennett's actually going to be there. Isabela frowned. The CEO. Yeah, apparently he's doing some big announcement. First time he's shown up to one in like 2 years. Huh. Isabela had been with the company 18 months and had seen Lucas Bennett exactly once, in the lobby, walking past her like she was furniture. Tall guy, nice suit, face that looked like it had forgotten how to smile. Maybe he's selling the company, Maya said. That would be dramatic. This is tech, everything's dramatic. Isabela's phone buzzed, email notification. She pulled it up. All staff meeting, Wednesday at 10, attendance mandatory. Great, she muttered. I have a dentist appointment Wednesday. Reschedule. I've been waiting 3 months for this appointment. Then go after. Meeting's only supposed to be an hour. Isabela put her phone away. Her edges were already starting to sweat under the office lights. She needed to redo her hair this weekend. Maybe try something different. The twist-out was getting old. I should get back, she said. You just got here. And now I'm leaving. Maya rolled her eyes but smiled. Fine, but we're getting lunch this week. Real lunch, not that sad desk salad thing you do. I like my desk salads. Nobody likes desk salads. That's why they're sad. Isabela was heading back to the elevator when she saw him. Lucas Bennett, standing by the glass doors of a conference room, talking to someone she didn't recognize. He was taller than she remembered, broader shoulders. There was grey at his temples, which shouldn't have worked but somehow did. She looked away quickly, punched the elevator button 3 times like that would make it come faster. The doors opened. She stepped inside. Just before they closed, she glanced back. He was looking at her. Not a casual glance, a real look, the kind that made her forget, just for a second, where she was. The doors closed. The elevator descended. Her heart was beating too fast. She told herself it didn't mean anything. Lots of people made eye contact in offices. It was normal, professional. But the way he'd looked at her, no. She was overthinking. Again. The 8th floor was quiet when she got back. Linda was on a call. Her desk was exactly how she'd left it. Outside, the rain had started, light drops against the windows. Isabela sat down, opened her email, tried to focus on inventory reports and vendor contracts and the 1,000 small tasks that made up her day. Her hands were shaking slightly. She pressed them flat against the desk. The phone rang. She didn't answer it. Wednesday arrived with fog so thick Isabela could barely see the Space Needle from her apartment window. Not that she was looking. She'd been staring at her closet for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what you wore to an all-hands meeting when the CEO might actually notice you existed. Which was stupid. He wouldn't notice her. CEOs didn't notice administrative assistants. Except he had looked at her on Monday. Really looked at her. She grabbed a navy blouse and black slacks. Professional. Invisible. Safe. The twist-out had finally given up completely, so she'd pulled her hair back into a low bun, edges slicked down with gel that would probably be sweating out by noon. Her reflection looked tired. She'd been having the dream again, the one where she showed up to work naked and everyone just kept talking like nothing was wrong. Coffee. She needed coffee. The drive to Sodo took longer than usual. Accident on I-5. Traffic crawling past the stadiums. By the time she parked in the garage under the building, it was 9:40, 20 minutes to spare. The lobby was packed. Apparently mandatory actually meant mandatory this time. Isabela recognized faces from departments she'd never talked to. Developers with expensive headphones, sales guys in suits that fit too well, the facilities manager who always smelled like cigarettes. Maya waved from near the elevators. Thought you were going to bail. Traffic. Isabela squeezed past a group blocking the path. What did I miss? Nothing. They're still setting up. Maya looked her up and down. You look nice. I look tired. That too. Maya grinned. Come on, let's get seats before all the good ones are gone. The main conference room on the third floor had been converted into a makeshift auditorium. Chairs in rows facing a small stage area, projection screen on the wall, too many people trying to fit in too small a space. The AC was blasting, but it still felt stuffy. That closed-in feeling you got when too many bodies occupied too little air. They found seats near the middle. Not too close, not too far back. Maya immediately pulled out her phone, started scrolling. Isabela sat with her hands in her lap, watching people file in. You nervous? Maya asked without looking up. Why would I be nervous? I don't know. You're doing that thing with your hands. Isabela looked down. She was picking at her thumbnail. She stopped. I'm fine, she said. Sure. At exactly 10 o'clock. The lights dimmed slightly. Conversations dropped to murmurs. Someone coughed. The projection screen lit up with the Bennett Solutions logo. Clean, modern, the kind of design that cost more money than it should have. Then Lucas Bennett walked onto the stage. He was wearing a grey suit, no tie. White shirt open at the collar. The kind of casual that only worked if you had enough money to not care. His hair was shorter than she remembered. Styled, but not trying too hard. He moved like someone used to being watched. Morning, he said into the microphone. His voice was deeper in person. It carried across the room without effort. Thanks for coming. I know mandatory meetings aren't anyone's favorite way to spend a Wednesday, so I'll try to keep this brief. Polite laughter. Someone in the back row was still typing on their laptop. I wanted to talk about where we're headed as a company, Lucas continued. We've had a good year. Revenue's up 32%. Client retention is the highest it's been since we started. We're expanding into new markets, hiring more people, growing faster than we planned. He paused, looked out at the crowd. For a second, just a second, his eyes landed on Isabela. She felt it like a physical thing. Her breath caught. Then he looked away, kept talking. But growth means change, and change means we need to be intentional about who we are and what we value. I didn't build this company to be just another tech startup that burns bright and crashes hard. I built it to last. Maya leaned over, whispered, He's actually not terrible at this. Isabela nodded, not trusting her voice. So I'm announcing a few initiatives, Lucas said. First, we're restructuring our benefits package. Better health care, mental health support, parental leave that actually makes sense. Second, we're investing in professional development. If you want to learn something, we'll help you learn it. And third, he clicked to the next slide. Employee Engagement Initiative. We're doing something different. Starting next month, leadership will be meeting one-on-one with employees from every department. Not just managers, everyone. I want to hear what's working, what's not. What you need to do your jobs better. Murmurs rippled through the room. These won't be performance reviews, Lucas added quickly. They're conversations, 30 minutes casual, and yes, that includes me. Maya's eyes went wide. She grabbed Isabela's arm. Oh my God. Isabela felt something cold settle in her stomach. HR will be sending out scheduling information next week, Lucas said. Participation is voluntary but encouraged. We want to build something real here. That starts with actually listening to the people who make this place run. He talked for another 15 minutes. Quarterly projections, new client acquisitions, some acquisition that meant nothing to Isabela. She heard maybe half of it. The rest was white noise, drowned out by the panicked voice in her head saying he's going to talk to you. One-on-one. In a room. What if he asked about Thursday? What if he'd heard more than she thought? What if Isabela? Maya was shaking her shoulder. It's over. We can go. The lights had come back up. People were standing, stretching, filing toward the exits. Lucas was still on stage talking to his VP. He wasn't looking at her. She stood on legs that felt unsteady. You okay? Maya asked. Yeah, fine. Just, Isabela grabbed her bag. I need air. It's raining. I don't care. She pushed through the crowd, out into the hallway, past the elevators to the stairwell. The door was heavy, required effort to open. Inside, the air was cooler, echoing with the sound of her heels on concrete. She made it down 2 flights before she had to stop. Her hands were shaking. Why were her hands shaking? It was fine, it was nothing. A 30-minute conversation about work. Professional. Normal. Except nothing about the way he'd looked at her felt normal. The stairwell door above her opened. Footsteps. She wiped at her face quickly, tried to look like someone just taking the stairs for exercise. Isabela. She froze. That voice. The same one from the microphone, but quieter now. Closer. She turned. Lucas Bennett stood 3 steps above her, hand still on the door. He'd taken off his suit jacket. The white shirt was rolled up at the sleeves. She could see the watch on his wrist, simple and expensive. Her voice came out wrong. I was just getting air, he finished. Yeah, me too. They looked at each other. The stairwell was silent except for the buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. Somewhere below, a door slammed. The meeting, Isabela started. It was good. What you said about... Isabela. He took a step down, then another. He was close enough now that she could smell his cologne. Something subtle, cedar maybe. I need to tell you something. Her heart was pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. Okay. Thursday night at the Belltown Social. Oh God. I was there, he said. The world tilted slightly. I heard what you said. To your friend. His voice was careful, measured. I wasn't trying to listen. I was leaving and I heard. Isabela felt heat flood her face. I was drunk. I know. I didn't mean... You meant every word. He was looking at her like he could see through her. And that's what I can't stop thinking about. She couldn't breathe right. Mr. Bennett, Lucas, this is... She shook her head. This is really inappropriate. I know. He ran a hand through his hair, messed it up, made him look younger, more human. Believe me, I know. I've spent the last 6 days telling myself to forget it, to let it go. But I can't. Why? The question came out smaller than she meant it to. Lucas took another step down. They were on the same landing now, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to look at him. He was maybe 6'2", broad across the shoulders, grey eyes that looked almost blue in this light. Because you said something real, he said quietly. In a world where everyone's performing all the time, you said something true, and it made me realize I haven't heard anything true in a very long time. Isabela's back hit the wall. She hadn't realized she was moving. I'm just an admin assistant. I don't care what your title is. You're the CEO. I'm aware. She gestured between them. This can't happen. I'm not asking for it to happen. He put his hand on the wall next to her head, not touching her. Just there, boxing her in without trapping her. I'm just asking you to know that I heard you, and I haven't stopped thinking about what you said. The fluorescent lights hummed. A pipe somewhere in the walls made a knocking sound. Isabela could feel her pulse everywhere. Wrists, neck, temples. What do you want from me? She asked. Lucas's expression shifted. Something softer, almost sad. I don't know. Maybe just to tell you that what you're waiting for, that thing you talked about, it's not stupid, it's not childish, it's... He stopped, swallowed. It's brave. Isabela felt something crack open in her chest. I should go, she whispered. Yeah. He didn't move, neither did she. They stayed like that for 5 seconds. 10. Long enough for her to memorize the line of his jaw, the way his shirt pulled across his shoulders, the fact that he was close enough to kiss, and that thought alone was enough to make her dizzy. Then his phone rang. The spell broke. Lucas stepped back, pulled the phone from his pocket, silenced it without looking. I should... Yeah. He walked past her, headed down the stairs, stopped at the landing below, turned back. Isabela. Yeah? I meant what I said up there, about the one-on-ones. If you want to talk in about work, about anything, my door's open. She nodded because she couldn't speak. He left. The stairwell door closed behind him with a sound like thunder. Isabela stayed where she was, back against the wall, heart hammering. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She didn't check it. Isabela didn't schedule the one-on-one. 2 weeks passed. HR sent 3 reminder emails. She deleted all of them. Work became a minefield. Every elevator ride, every trip to the break room, every Monday morning, all hands. She was scanning for him, adjusting her route, taking the stairs even when her knees ached, eating lunch at her desk with the door closed. Linda noticed first. Came by her desk Thursday afternoon, leaned against the doorframe with her arms crossed. "You've been absent a lot lately." Isabela looked up from her computer. "What?" "Not physically absent. But you're not here either." Linda's expression wasn't angry, just concerned. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just busy." "Busy avoiding the break room, busy taking calls in the stairwell, busy leaving exactly at 5 when you used to stay until 6? Isabela's face got hot. "I didn't realize I was being watched." "You're not, but I notice things." Linda came in, closed the door behind her, sat in the chair across from Isabela's desk. "Look, I don't know what's going on, and you don't have to tell me, but whatever it is, work through it. Don't let it mess up what you've built here." She left before Isabela could respond. That evening, Isabela sat at her desk after everyone else had gone, staring at her reflection in the darkened computer screen. Linda was right. She was letting fear run her life. Again. Her phone buzzed. Maya, of course. "Girl, you're being weird." They were at lunch, actual lunch this time, at the PHO place on Jackson Street that Maya swore by. The restaurant smelled like star anise and beef broth. Rain hammered against the windows. Seattle in December, dark by 4:30, wet all the time. Maya was quieter than usual, picking at her spring rolls instead of demolishing them like she normally did. "You okay?" Isabela asked. "Yeah, just—" Maya set down her chopsticks. Marcus texted again. Marcus, the ex, the one Maya had spent 6 months getting over. What did he say? That he misses me, that he's changed. The usual bullshit. Maya laughed, but it sounded hollow. I almost replied. That's the pathetic part. After everything he put me through, I almost replied. Isabela reached across the table, squeezed her hand. "But you didn't." "No, but I wanted to." Maya looked up. "Does that ever go away? The wanting to go back to something you know is bad for you?" "I don't know. I've never let anyone close enough to hurt me like that. Until now." Isabela pulled her hand back. "What? Whatever's going on with you. And don't say nothing because I know you. It's different. You're actually feeling something. And that's scary because now you have something to lose." The waitress passed by with someone else's order, steam rising from the bowl. "You're not wrong," Isabela said quietly. "So tell me, what happened?" Isabela pushed her bowl away. She'd barely eaten. Her edges needed redoing, but she couldn't find the energy. Last night she'd fallen asleep on the couch at 8 p.m., still wearing her work clothes, woke up at 3 a.m. with her bra digging into her ribs and her neck aching. "He told me he heard," she said. Maya's eyes went wide. "Heard what?" "Everything. That night at the bar. He was there." "Oh, shit." "Yeah. What did he say?" Isabela picked at her napkin, tearing it into strips, that he couldn't stop thinking about it, that what I said was brave. And nothing, that's it. That's not nothing, Isabela. It has to be nothing. She looked up, met Maya's eyes. "He's the CEO, I'm nobody, this whole thing is insane." "You're not nobody. You know what I mean." Maya was quiet for a moment. Outside, a bus splashed through a puddle, spraying water onto the sidewalk. Someone ran past holding a newspaper over their head, like that would help. "What are you scared of?" Maya asked. "I'm not scared." "Yes, you are, I can see it. Same way you can see I'm scared of texting Marcus back." Isabela felt her throat get tight. "I'm scared that if I go to that meeting, something's gonna change. And I'm scared that if something changes, I'm gonna mess it up like I mess everything up." "You don't mess everything up." "I do, though." She laughed, but it came out wrong. "I'm 27 years old, and I'm still trying to figure out how to be a person, how to exist without overthinking every single thing. And now there's this guy who's looking at me like—" She stopped. "Like what?" Maya's voice was gentle. "Like I matter," Isabela whispered, "and I don't know what to do with that." Maya reached across the table again, squeezed her hand harder this time. "Maybe you just let yourself matter. Same way I need to let myself not matter to Marcus anymore. I don't know how. Then we'll figure it out together, deal?" Isabela felt tears building. "Deal." The waitress came back, asked if everything was okay with the food. Maya said yes, asked for the check. The lunch rush was starting, people filing in from the rain, shaking water off their coats. Isabela's phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Email from HR, final reminder. Please schedule your one-on-one with leadership by end of week. Contact Bennett Solutions. Com with questions. You gonna do it? Maya asked. Isabela stared at the screen. I don't know. Want my advice? Not really. Too bad. Stop running from things that scare you. Even if it ends badly, at least you'll know. Isabela put her phone away. Her hands were shaking. Friday afternoon, 4:30. Dark outside already. Isabela sat at her desk, staring at her email inbox. The office was mostly empty. Linda had left at 3 for some Christmas shopping. Most people were already gone for the weekend. She'd written and deleted the scheduling email 6 times. Hi, this is Isabela Moore from admin. I'd like to schedule my one-on-one with Mr. Bennett. Please let me know available times. Too formal, delete. Hey, it's Isabela. I know I'm late, but I'd still like to do the one-on-one if possible. Too casual. Delete. Hi. Is it too late to schedule? Too pathetic. Delete. She was on version 7 when her desk phone rang. She almost didn't answer, but it was after 4:30. Could be important. Administrative. This is Isabela. Ms. Moore. A woman's voice, crisp and efficient. This is Diane from the executive suite. Mr. Bennett has an opening at 5 p.m. today if you're available for your one-on-one. Isabela's mouth went dry. Today? Yes. I apologize for the short notice, but he had a cancellation and noticed you hadn't scheduled yet. Would that work? Say no. Make an excuse. Run. Yes, that works. Wonderful. Executive suite, 10th floor. See you at 5. The line went dead. Isabela sat there, phone still pressed to her ear, heart hammering. 25 minutes. She had 25 minutes. She hung up, grabbed her bag, locked her computer. The bathroom was down the hall. She made it inside, checked the mirror. Her hair was a mess. The bun had come loose, edges were fuzzy. She didn't have her gel, didn't have anything except the emergency lip balm in her pocket. Get it together, she told her reflection. Her reflection didn't look convinced. At 4:58, she stepped off the elevator onto the 10th floor. She'd never been up here. The executive suite was all glass walls and expensive furniture, that minimalist aesthetic that screamed money. A receptionist sat at a desk near the elevators, typing something on a computer. Isabela Moore, she said. Her voice sounded far away. I have a 5 o'clock with Mr. Bennett. The receptionist smiled. Of course. His office is at the end of the hall. You can go right in. Isabela walked. Her heels were too loud on the polished floor. Through the glass walls, she could see empty offices, conference rooms with chairs tucked neatly under tables. The rain outside was coming down harder now, drops racing each other down the windows. Lucas's office was at the corner, door open, lights on. She knocked anyway. Come in. He was standing by the window looking out at the city, still wearing a suit, but the jacket was off, hanging on the back of his chair. He turned when she entered. Isabela, close the door. She did. The office smelled like coffee and something else. That clean scent expensive places always had. There was a couch against one wall, a desk with 2 monitors, shelves lined with books she'd never read. Sit wherever you're comfortable, Lucas said. She chose one of the chairs facing his desk. He grabbed the other one, pulled it around so they were facing each other with nothing between them. No desk, no barriers. Too close. Thanks for coming, he said. I know it's late notice. It's fine. How are you? The question felt loaded. I'm okay. Really? Really? He studied her for a moment, those grey eyes that saw too much. You've been avoiding this meeting. It wasn't a question. I've been busy, she said. Isabela. I didn't know what to say to you. The truth would be good. She looked away, focused on the bookshelf. Business titles, leadership books. One novel tucked between them, The Great Gatsby. Old copy, spine cracked from reading. I don't know what you want from me, she said finally. You heard something private, something I never meant for anyone to hear, especially not your boss. Yeah. Lucas leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I'm not going to apologize for hearing it, but I am sorry if it made you uncomfortable. It did. I know. Then why? She looked at him. Why did you tell me? Why not just pretend it never happened? Because I couldn't. His voice was quiet. Because for 6 days I kept thinking about what you said, about wanting someone who actually cared, about waiting for something real. He paused. And I realized I've been waiting for the same thing. Isabela felt something shift in her chest. I'm 39 years old, Lucas continued. I've dated, had relationships, one almost engagement that ended when I realized we were just going through the motions. And after a while I stopped trying, told myself it was easier to focus on work. That maybe I wasn't built for the kind of connection other people found. He ran a hand through his hair. Then I heard you, this stranger in a bar, saying exactly what I'd been feeling but couldn't put into words. And I thought, he stopped. I don't know what I thought. That maybe I wasn't alone. The rain against the windows sounded like static. I'm not who you think I am, Isabela said. Who do I think you are? Someone brave. Someone who has their life together. Someone who... Her voice cracked. I'm a mess, Lucas. I overthink everything. I cancel plans last minute because anxiety wins. I still call my mama crying when life gets hard. I'm not this person you've built up in your head. I don't have anyone built up in my head. Yes, you do. No. He leaned closer. I see you, Isabela. Not some fantasy. You. The woman who tears up napkins when she's nervous, who takes the stairs when elevators feel too close, who avoids meetings because sometimes talking to people is just too much. His voice softened. I see all of it, and it doesn't scare me. Isabela felt tears building. She blinked them back hard. This can't work, she said. Why not? Because you're you and I'm me, because people will talk, because there are rules about this kind of thing. I don't care about rules. You should. Why? He was close enough now that she could see the exact color of his eyes, gray with blue around the edges. Give me one good reason why I should walk away from something that feels real for the first time in years. Because I'm terrified, she whispered. Because what if you see all of me and decide it's not what you want? What if I give you everything and you leave? What if I don't? The words hung between them. Isabela stood up fast enough that the chair scraped against the floor. I need to go. Isabela, I can't do this. I'm sorry, She was at the door, hand on the handle. Wait. Something in his voice made her stop. Not commanding, pleading. She turned. Lucas was standing now too, hands in his pockets, looking at her like she was something precious he was watching slip away. I'm not going anywhere, he said quietly. Take all the time you need to figure this out, a week, a month, whatever, but know that I'm here, and I'm not running. Isabela's hand tightened on the door handle. What if I run? Then I'll wait until you stop. She left. The hallway was empty. The receptionist was gone. The elevator took forever. When she finally got to her car in the garage, she sat in the driver's seat and gripped the steering wheel. Her whole body was shaking. Outside, the rain kept falling, drumming on the roof like 1,000 tiny fists. She turned the key. The engine started. The radio came on, some song she didn't know, sad and slow. She put the car in reverse. Her hands were still shaking on the wheel. Isabela called in sick on Monday. Then Tuesday. Wednesday she actually showed up, but left at lunch after hearing 2 women from sales in the bathroom. I heard it's someone in admin. No way, Bennett doesn't date employees. Girl, everybody dates employees, he's just better at hiding it. Laughter, the sound of lipstick being applied. Isabela stayed frozen in the stall, feet pulled up so they wouldn't see her shoes. Whoever she is, good for her. Man looks like that and has money. I'd risk the HR meeting. More laughter. Then the door closed. Silence. Isabela sat there for another 5 minutes, heart pounding. They weren't talking about her. Couldn't be, nothing had even happened. But the fear was real. The judgment, the assumptions people would make. She went back to her desk, grabbed her bag, told Linda she felt sick, which wasn't a lie. She felt sick all the time now. By Wednesday afternoon, her apartment in Capitol Hill looked like a crime scene. La Croix cans on every surface, cereal bowls in the sink, her bonnet on the coffee table next to her laptop, where she'd been trying to work remotely and failing. Her mama called. "Baby, what's going on?" "Nothing, Mama, just a cold." "You don't sound sick." "I'm fine." Isabela Marie Moore. That voice. The one that meant business. "I raised you, don't lie to me." Isabela pulled her knees to her chest on the couch. Outside her window, Seattle was doing its thing. Grey sky, light rain, people walking by with umbrellas and dogs and coffee cups. Normal Wednesday. Normal lives. "I met someone," she said. Her mama was quiet for a beat. "And that's making you sick." "It's complicated." "Baby, it's always complicated. That's what makes it worth it." "Not this time." "Why not?" Isabela closed her eyes. "Because I'm scared, Mama." "Of what?" "That I'm not enough. That he'll see who I really am and leave. That I waited all this time for something real, and now that it's here, I'm gonna mess it up." Her mama sighed. That deep sigh that carried 27 years of knowing her daughter better than she knew herself. "Isabela, listen to me. You've been scared your whole life. Scared to fail. Scared to try. Scared to let anyone see the parts of you that aren't perfect. And where's that gotten you? Mama, alone, that's where. Sitting in that apartment by yourself, making up reasons why you can't have what you want." The words hurt because they were true. "What if he hurts me?" Isabela whispered. "What if he doesn't? What if he's exactly what you've been praying for and you're too scared to find out?" She got up, took a shower. Actually washed her hair, deep conditioned it. Sat under her bonnet dryer while her leg bounced nervously. While the conditioner set, she paced her apartment. Picked up her phone 6 times to text him, put it down 6 times. What would she even say? "Hey, sorry for running. Want to try this again?" God, that sounded stupid. She opened her messages, scrolled to his name, Lucas Bennett, CEO. The man who'd heard her most embarrassing confession, and somehow saw it as beautiful. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard. "I'm sorry, delete. Can we talk?" "Delete. I was wrong, delete." She threw her phone on the couch, went back to the bathroom, rinsed out the conditioner. Her hair felt softer already. She twisted it section by section, fingers moving on autopilot while her brain spun in circles. What if he'd moved on? It had been almost a week. Maybe he'd realized she was too much work, too damaged, No, stop. She looked at herself in the mirror, hair done, face clean, eyes still scared but determined. "You can do this," she told her reflection. Her reflection didn't look convinced. By the time she was done, fresh twists, edges laid, moisturizer making her skin glow, it was almost 6 p.m. She put on jeans that actually fit. The leather jacket she saved for occasions that mattered, stared at herself one more time. This was insane. Going to his office unannounced. What if he wasn't even there? What if he was but had someone with him? What if... Her phone buzzed. "Maya again. Proud of you, BTW, whatever you're about to do. How do you know I'm about to do something? Because I know you. Now go." Isabela grabbed her keys. Bennett Solutions looked different at night. The lobby was dim, only emergency lights on. The security guard at the desk looked surprised to see her. "Working late, Ms. Moore?" Something like that. The elevator ride to 10 felt longer than usual. Her reflection in the polished doors showed someone who looked put together. Hair done, jeans that actually fit. The leather jacket she saved for dates she never went on. But inside her heart was trying to break through her ribs. The 10th floor was dark. No receptionist, no lights in the offices. Just the glow of the city through the windows, rain streaking the glass. Lucas's office was at the end of the hall. The door was closed, but she could see light underneath. She knocked. "It's open." She pushed inside. He was at his desk, laptop open, sleeves rolled up. He looked tired. There was a coffee cup next to him, lipstick stain on the rim. No, not lipstick, just a ring where his mouth had been. He looked up when she entered. Something crossed his face, relief maybe, or surprise. "Isabela, hi." They looked at each other. The office was quiet except for the rain outside and the hum of his computer. "You haven't been at work," he said finally. I know. Are you okay? No. She closed the door behind her. But I'm here anyway. Lucas stood up, came around the desk but kept his distance, like he was afraid if he got too close she'd run again. I'm sorry, Isabela said. Her voice was shaking. For running. For avoiding you. For being a mess. You don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. She took a breath. You were honest with me. About hearing what I said. About how it made you feel. And I panicked because... She stopped, started over. My whole life, I've been careful. So careful. Never saying too much. Never wanting too much. Never letting anyone see the parts of me that weren't perfect, because I thought if they saw those parts, they'd leave. And it worked, you know. Nobody left, because nobody ever got close enough to leave. Lucas didn't say anything. Just listened. Then you happened, she continued. You heard the thing I was most embarrassed about and you didn't laugh. You didn't judge. You just saw me, really saw me, and that terrified me more than anything else. Why? Because what if you keep seeing me and you don't like what you find? Isabela, no, let me finish. She wiped at her eyes, hadn't realized she was crying. I'm not brave. I'm not this strong person who knows what she wants. I'm someone who still sleeps in the same bonnet 3 nights in a row because I'm too tired to care. Who eats cereal for dinner, who still doesn't know how to parallel park and has to drive around the block 4 times. Who... Her voice broke. Who's still a virgin at 27 because she's been too scared to let anyone that close? The words hung in the air. Lucas crossed the space between them in 3 steps. Stop. Stop what? Talking about yourself like you're some kind of failure. I'm not saying I'm a failure. Yes, you are. His voice was firm but gentle. You're listing all these things like they're flaws when they're just human. You think I care that you wear the same bonnet 3 nights in a row. You think it matters to me that you eat cereal for dinner. It should matter. Why? Because you're... She gestured at him, at the office, at everything. You're successful and put together, and you probably have your life figured out. Lucas laughed. Actually laughed. You think I have my life figured out? Don't you? Isabela, I'm 39 years old and I still don't know how to have a real conversation without overthinking every word. I haven't been on a date in 2 years because I convinced myself it was easier to be alone. I eat takeout 5 nights a week because I never learned to cook. My mom still does my laundry when I visit because I can never get the settings right. He stepped closer. I'm not perfect. I'm just better at hiding it than you are. Isabela looked up at him. He was close enough that she could see the grey at his temples, the lines at the corners of his eyes. He looked real, tired, and human, and real. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. Neither do I. What if we mess it up? Then we mess it up. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing away a tear. But at least we'll mess it up together. That's a terrible plan. You have a better one? She didn't. God, she didn't. I'm scared, she said. Me too. Really? Terrified. His other hand came up, framing her face. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. Isabela felt something break open inside her chest. Something that had been locked up for so long she'd forgotten it was there. Lucas, I'm not going to pressure you, he said quietly. Whatever you're ready for. Whenever you're ready. I just want to know you. Really know you. The bonnet and the cereal dinners and the parallel parking anxiety, all of it. Why? Because that's the person I heard that night. The real one. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about her since. The rain outside picked up. Harder now, like the sky was breaking open. But what about... Isabela gestured vaguely. Work, HR, the rules. I heard people talking in the bathroom today. They don't even know about us and they're already making assumptions. Lucas's expression darkened slightly. What did they say? Just gossip. About you maybe dating someone. And I just kept thinking if we do this, that's what it'll be. Gossip, whispers. People thinking I got my job or my promotion or whatever because of who I'm sleeping with. You haven't slept with anyone. You know what I mean. He was quiet for a moment. You're right. It would be complicated. We'd have to go to HR, disclose the relationship. There'd be paperwork, probably some reassignment so we're not in a direct reporting line. People would talk regardless. See, but none of that changes how I feel about you. He stepped closer. We can do this right, transparent, by the book, and anyone who has a problem with it can take it up with me. Lucas, I'm not saying it'll be easy. I'm saying it'll be worth it. Isabela felt something break open inside her chest. I want to try, she said. I'm terrified and I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to try. Lucas smiled. First real smile she'd seen from him. It changed his whole face, made him look younger, less CEO, more just man. Yeah? Yeah. Can I kiss you? The question made her laugh despite the tears. You're asking? I'm asking. She nodded because she didn't trust her voice. He kissed her like she was something precious, soft and careful and searching. His hands stayed on her face, thumbs stroking her cheeks. She grabbed his shirt, held on like she was drowning, and he was solid ground. When they pulled back, they were both breathing hard. Okay, Isabela said. Okay. Okay what? Okay, let's do this, whatever this is. Together. Lucas rested his forehead against hers. Together. They stood like that for a long time. Rain falling, city lights glowing. Two people who'd been afraid of the same thing finally finding the courage to stop running. 3 months later, they'd gone to HR together. Week 3 of dating, right after Isabela met his parents on a nervous Sunday brunch, where his mother kept asking about grandchildren, and his father kept trying to talk business until Lucas shut it down. The HR meeting had been awkward. Diane from compliance sitting across from them with a stack of forms, explaining conflict of interest policies and reporting structures and professional boundaries. So I can't report to you anymore, Isabela had said. Correct, we'll need to reassign you to a different supervisor. Linda? Linda works. Diane made a note. And you'll both need to sign acknowledgement that this relationship is consensual, that there's no quid pro quo, and that you understand the company's fraternization policy. Lucas had reached under the table, squeezed Isabela's hand. We understand. They'd signed the forms, told Linda, who'd raised an eyebrow but smiled. About time. You've been walking around here looking miserable for weeks, told Maya, who'd screamed so loud half the office heard it. The gossip lasted maybe 2 weeks. Then someone in engineering got caught stealing code, and everyone forgot about Isabela and Lucas entirely. Now, 3 months in, it felt almost normal. Isabela was at Lucas's place in the condo in Belltown with the view she'd never get used to, making breakfast, or trying to. The eggs were definitely burning. Babe, you're burning the eggs. Lucas came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. I'm aware. You want help? No. I want to prove I can make breakfast without setting off the smoke alarm. How's that going? Poorly. He laughed into her neck. She could feel the vibration of it. 3 months, and that sound still made her stomach flip. They'd taken it slow. Slower than slow. Dinner dates that turned into walking dates that turned into sitting on his couch watching movies and talking until 3 a.m. dates. He'd met her mama on FaceTime. She'd met his parents when they flew in from Boston. Maya had given her stamp of approval after interrogating him over coffee, while Isabela sat there mortified. They hadn't slept together yet. He'd never pushed, never asked, just kissed her goodnight and told her he'd see her tomorrow and meant it. Last week, though, she'd stayed over. Nothing happened except sleeping. But waking up next to him, bonnet on, no makeup, breath probably terrible, and having him smile at her like she was beautiful anyway, that changed something. I'm ready, she'd said 2 nights ago. They were on his couch, his arm around her shoulders, some movie playing that neither of them were watching. Ready for what? He'd asked. You know what? He'd pulled back, looked at her. Isabela, I'm ready, she said again. I want it to be you. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. But that was 2 nights ago. Then work got crazy. She got her period. Life happened. Now it was Saturday morning. Sunny. Rare for Seattle in March. The eggs were definitely ruined, but she didn't care. Lucas turned off the stove. moved the pan, turned her around to face him. "Hi," he said. "Hi. You know I love you, right?" She did. He'd said it first, 3 weeks ago. She'd said it back immediately. "I know. And you know we don't have to." "Lucas." She put her hands on his chest, felt his heartbeat under her palms. "I love you. I trust you. I want this. Now." Now. He searched her face for doubt. Found none. "Okay," he said softly. "Okay." He took her hand, led her to the bedroom. The view from the window showed the whole city. The sound beyond it, mountains in the distance. He kissed her slowly, thoroughly, helped her out of her clothes like she was something sacred. She'd expected to be nervous, expected to freeze up. Instead, she felt safe. "Tell me if anything's too much," he whispered against her skin. "I will. Tell me if you want to stop. I won't." It hurt at first. He was careful, patient, kept checking in. But eventually, slowly, the hurt faded into something else. Something that built and built until she wasn't thinking anymore, just feeling. After they lay tangled together, morning sun streaming through the windows. Isabella's hair was a mess. She didn't care. "You okay?" Lucas asked. She nodded against his chest. "Better than okay. No regrets?" "None." She tilted her head to look at him. "Thank you." "For what?" "For waiting, for being patient, for being you." He kissed her forehead. "Thank you for trusting me." They stayed there for a while. No rush, nowhere to be. Eventually, Isabella's phone buzzed. Text from Maya. "Lunch tomorrow? Need details?" She showed Lucas. He laughed. "You gonna tell her?" "Eventually, when I can form sentences again." "That bad?" "That good." He pulled her closer. She fit perfectly against him, like maybe all those years of waiting hadn't been wasted. Just preparation for this, for him. "I was so scared," she said quietly. "Of what?" "Of all of it. Of this. Of you. Of what it would mean. And now I'm just grateful I stopped running long enough to let you catch me." Lucas's arms tightened around her. "I would have waited forever." "I know," she smiled, "but I'm glad you didn't have to." Outside, Seattle kept moving. Traffic on the streets below, ferries crossing the Sound, life happening everywhere. But in that bedroom, in that moment, with that man, Isabela finally felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. She'd spent 27 years afraid of not being enough. Turned out she'd always been enough. She just needed someone brave enough to see it, and patient enough to wait while she learned to see it too. The sun climbed higher. The burned egg sat forgotten in the kitchen. Neither of them cared. 1 year later. The thing about love, Isabela learned, was that it wasn't one big moment. It was 1,000 small ones. It was Lucas bringing her coffee every morning, made exactly how she liked it. 2 creams, 1 sugar, still hot. It was him learning to do her edges when she was too tired, sitting behind her on the bathroom counter with YouTube tutorials playing on his phone, tongue sticking out in concentration while she tried not to laugh. It was her learning his tells, the way he rubbed the back of his neck when a meeting went bad, how he got quiet when he was overwhelmed, the fact that he needed exactly 20 minutes of silence after work before he could talk about his day. It was both of them learning that love wasn't about being perfect. It was about being present. But it hadn't all been smooth. God, it hadn't been smooth at all. 6 months ago. The first real fight. "You're being ridiculous." "I'm being realistic." They were in his car, stuck in traffic on I-5 after dinner at her mama's place in Atlanta. They'd flown down for the weekend, and it had gone well until her cousin Jamal made a comment. "Must be nice. Dating the boss. Instant job security." Isabela had laughed it off. Lucas had gotten quiet. Now, 3 hours later, on the drive to the airport, it was coming out. "You think that's what people see?" Isabela asked. "That I'm with you for job security?" "I don't think that, but other people might." "And that bothers you?" "It bothers me that people might disrespect you like that. Reduce you to some gold digger? Trophy girlfriend?" Her voice was sharp. "You think I haven't thought about that every single day for the past 6 months?" Lucas glanced at her, then back at the road. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? He was quiet for a long moment. Traffic crawled forward. Outside, the Georgia heat made everything shimmer. I meant that I hate that loving me makes your life harder, he said finally. I hate that you have to deal with assumptions and gossip and people questioning if you earned what you have. And I hate that I can't fix it. Isabela felt her anger deflate. Lucas, you're brilliant at your job. You got promoted because you're good, not because of me, but people are always going to wonder. And I fucking hate that. She reached over, took his hand off the gear shift. So we prove them wrong every day. We show up, we do the work, we don't give them anything to talk about except how good we are at our jobs. And if that's not enough, then fuck 'em, we know the truth. He'd smiled despite himself, brought her hand to his lips. When did you get so tough? I've always been tough. You just didn't notice because I was too busy hiding. They talked the whole flight back, about boundaries and respect and how to handle her family's sometimes awkward questions about their relationship. It hadn't solved everything, but it had mattered. 4 months ago, the job offer Lucas had come home quiet. Too quiet. Isabela knew immediately something was wrong. What happened? He'd set his bag down by the door, loosened his tie. I got an offer today to sell the company. Her heart dropped. What? Tech giant. Won't say who yet. But they want Bennett Solutions, full acquisition, ridiculous amount of money. Wow, that's huge. Yeah, he sat on the couch, ran his hands through his hair. They want me to stay on for 2 years as CTO, but after that I'd be done, free to do whatever I want. Isabela sat next to him. What do you want to do? I don't know, that's the problem. I built this company from nothing. It's been my whole life for 12 years. And now someone's offering me an exit, and I don't know if I want it. What does your gut say? My gut says I'm tired. My gut says I want to have time for other things. For you. For us. He looked at her. But I also keep thinking, what if I regret it? What if I sell and realize I gave up the thing that defined me? They'd talked until 3 a.m. Isabela had asked the hard questions. Are you happy running the company? Or are you just scared of who you'd be without it? A week later, Lucas had called a meeting with his team, told them about the offer, asked for their input. In the end, he'd declined, not because he had to, but because he realized he wasn't done yet. I want to build something that lasts, he'd told Isabela that night, and I can do that without sacrificing us. He'd started delegating more, taking actual vacations, coming home at reasonable hours. The company didn't collapse, it thrived. 2 months ago, meeting his parents, again. The first meeting had been over FaceTime. The second was in person. Boston in October, leaves turning gold and red, Lucas's childhood home in Newton that looked exactly like Isabela had imagined. Old money, quiet elegance, the kind of house where you worried about touching things. His mother, Caroline, had been polite. Too polite. The kind of polite that felt like judgment wrapped in good manners. His father, Richard, had asked about her career plans. And what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Like a job interview, like she had to prove she was good enough to date their son. Lucas had gotten tense. Isabela had put her hand on his knee under the table, answered honestly. I'm not sure yet. Right now I'm focused on learning everything I can, growing, figuring out what I'm good at. That's very... Caroline had paused. Open-ended. It is. Isabela agreed. But I'd rather be honest about not having all the answers than pretend I do. Something had shifted after that. Not fixed, but shifted. By Sunday brunch, Caroline was asking about her hair routine. Richard was showing her photos of Lucas as a kid. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. On the flight home, Lucas had said, "Thank you." For what? For being you. For not trying to be who they wanted you to be. They'll come around. And if they don't, then they'll miss out on knowing someone pretty great. She'd smiled. Me, obviously, not you. He'd laughed. Obviously. 1 month ago, the promotion office manager. Isabela had stared at Linda in disbelief. What? We're restructuring admin, combining 3 departments under 1 manager. The position reports directly to VP of Operations, and I recommended you. But nothing. You're organized, detail-oriented. People actually like working with you. You're perfect for it. People are going to say I got it because, let them say it. You and I both know you earned this. Linda had leaned forward. Question is, do you want it? Isabela had thought about the girl at the Belltown social, the one who believed she was behind, who thought waiting made her less. That girl would have said no, would have let fear win. Yes, Isabela had said. I want it. She'd told Lucas that night, expected him to be thrilled. Instead, he'd gotten quiet. What's wrong? Nothing. I'm proud of you. Really. But his voice didn't match his words. Lucas, he'd sighed. I want to celebrate you, publicly. But I can't without people thinking I had something to do with it, and I hate that. I hate that I can't brag about how brilliant my girlfriend is without someone assuming I pulled strings. Isabela had pulled him close. So brag in private. Tell me. Tell our friends. Tell Maya, who'll probably scream and make it everyone's business anyway. That's not enough. It's enough for me. And it was, because she knew the truth. She'd earned this. All of it. Now Isabela stood in the bathroom of their new apartment. Not his place, not hers, theirs, looking at herself in the mirror. Hair in locks now, 6 months in, still getting used to the weight of them. Her mama had cried when she saw them on FaceTime. Baby, you look like yourself finally. She did. Feel like herself, that is. Outside, she could hear Lucas in the kitchen, probably burning something. His cooking hadn't improved much, neither had hers. They'd gotten real good at takeout. It was a Sunday, their day. No work, no obligations, just them. She walked out to find him standing at the stove, spatula in hand, frowning at a pan of scrambled eggs that looked questionable. Need help? She asked. Nope. Got it. Lucas, those eggs are grey. They're fine. They're grey. He looked at the pan, looked at her. Okay, they're grey. She laughed, came up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist. He was wearing the Seahawks shirt she'd bought him, the one he claimed not to like, but wore every weekend. She pressed her face against his back. You okay? He asked. Yeah, just happy. He turned off the stove. The eggs were beyond saving, and turned in her arms. His hair was messy from sleep. He had pillow marks on his face. He looked beautiful. I love you, she said. I love you too. He kissed her forehead. Even though you just insulted my eggs. Your eggs are insulting themselves. Fair point. They ended up ordering brunch from the place on Pike Street. Sat on their couch, the one they'd picked out together after debating for 3 hours about fabric and color and whether recliners were tacky, eating pancakes and bacon and not talking much because they didn't need to. Isabela's phone buzzed. Maya, as usual. Brunch next week? Haven't seen you in forever. She typed back, You saw me Thursday exactly. Forever. You're ridiculous. You love me, she did. Maya had been through her own transformation this year. After blocking Marcus, she'd gone to therapy, started dating again, carefully this time. There was someone new now, a graphic designer named Tariq, who made her laugh and didn't play games. They were taking it slow. I'm learning what healthy looks like, Maya had told her last month over drinks. Turns out it's boring in the best way. Like, he texts back. He shows up when he says he will, wild concept. I'm proud of you, Isabela had said. Same. Look at us, growing and shit. Now Maya was planning a double date. Isabela and Lucas, Maya and Tariq. Normal couple things, the kind of life Isabela had thought she'd never have. Maya had also been there for the promotion celebration, threw a whole party, champagne and speeches and everything. You're moving up in the world, she'd said. Next thing you know, you'll be running the whole company. I don't want to run the company. Yeah, but you could. That's my point. Isabela wasn't sure about that, but she was sure about this. She was good at her job, better than good. And for the first time in her life, she believed it. Lucas's hand found hers on the couch, their fingers tangled together automatically. Easy, natural. What are you thinking about? He asked. How different everything is. Good different. The best different. It had been a year since that night in his office. A year since she'd stopped running. So much had changed and nothing had changed. She was still overthinking sometimes, still got anxious, still had moments where the fear crept back in, whispering that this was too good to be real. But now when that happened, she didn't run. She talked. Lucas listened. They worked through it together. "Remember when we first met?" she asked. "Well, not met when you first heard me. At the Belltown social. You were wearing a black dress. You remember what I was wearing?" "I remember everything about that night." She shifted, pulled her legs up under her, turned to face him fully. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" "Honestly, no." He played with her fingers. "I thought you'd run. Keep running. That I'd scared you off completely. I almost did. I know. What made you wait?" He thought about it for a moment. Outside their window, Seattle was doing its Sunday thing. Cyclists on the Burke-Gilman Trail, kayakers on the water, tourists taking pictures of the market. "Because I saw something in you that night," he said finally. "Not just beauty, though you are beautiful, but truth, vulnerability, the courage to admit you were scared. And I thought, if she's brave enough to say that out loud, maybe I can be brave enough to wait." Isabela felt her throat get tight. "I'm glad you waited. Me too. Even when I was a mess? Especially when you were a mess." He pulled her closer. "That's when I knew it was real. When you let me see the messy parts and didn't apologize for them." They sat like that for a while. The food got cold. Neither of them moved. "I never thought I'd have this," Isabela said quietly. "When I was younger, I used to imagine what love would feel like. I thought it would be this big, dramatic thing, like the movies, all grand gestures and passionate speeches. And it's better than that. It's you remembering that I like my coffee with 2 creams. It's me knowing you need silence after work. It's us burning eggs and ordering takeout and just being." Lucas smiled. "You're getting sappy on me." "I'm allowed to be sappy." "You are. I like it." Her phone buzzed again. This time it was her mama. "Call me when you get a chance, baby. Nothing urgent. Just want to hear your voice." Isabela's chest warmed. Her mama loved Lucas. Had loved him from the first FaceTime call when he'd been nervous and formal, and her mama had just laughed and said, "Boy, relax, I don't bite." He'd relaxed. They talked for 2 hours. Her mama later told Isabela, "That man looks at you like you hung the moon. Don't mess this up." "I'm trying not to, Mama." "Good, because I already told him he's invited to Thanksgiving." Isabela looked at Lucas now, at this man who'd heard her most vulnerable confession and seen it as beautiful instead of broken, who'd waited while she figured out how to stop running, who loved her edges and her bonnet and her terrible parallel parking. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For seeing me, really seeing me, and staying anyway." "Isabela." His voice was serious now. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be. No one else I'd rather be with. You know that, right?" She did. Finally, she did. "I know." "Good." He kissed her. Soft and sweet. "Now what do you want to do today?" "This. Just this. Just sitting on the couch?" "Just sitting on the couch with you." "Best Sunday ever," and he said. She laughed. "We're boring. We're content. There's a difference." There was. She'd spent so long chasing some idea of what love should look like that she'd almost missed what it actually was. Not fireworks and grand gestures. Just this. Sunday mornings and burnt eggs and hands held on couches, and someone who knew your coffee order by heart. Simple. Real. Hers. The afternoon stretched out ahead of them. No plans. No schedule. Just time. Isabela thought about that girl at the Belltown social, 27 and terrified, holding on to something precious because she didn't know how to let go, believing she was behind, when really she was exactly where she needed to be. If she could talk to that girl now, she'd tell her, it's okay to be scared, it's okay to wait, it's okay to want something real. And when you find it, when someone sees you for who you truly are and loves you anyway, don't run. Stay. Fight through the fear. Choose love over safety. Because on the other side of that fear, there's this. There's Sunday mornings and burnt eggs, and a man who learned to do your edges and a life that feels like home, and it's worth it. God, it's so worth it. Lucas's arm tightened around her. She fit perfectly against him. Like maybe all those years of waiting had been preparing her for this exact moment, this exact person. "Hey," she said. "Hey, I'm really glad I stopped running." "Me too, baby. Me too." Outside, Seattle kept moving, but inside their apartment time felt suspended. Just two people who'd found each other in the most unexpected way, learning that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be loved. Isabela closed her eyes, breathed in, breathed out. For the first time in her life, she wasn't waiting for something to begin. She was living it. A message for you love finds us in the strangest ways. Sometimes it's in a crowded bar when we're being honest without meaning to be. Sometimes it's in the courage to stop running. Sometimes it's in someone who sees our fear and doesn't turn away. Isabela thought she was behind, thought she'd missed her window, thought waiting made her less than everyone else. She was wrong. Your timeline is your timeline, your journey is your journey, and the person meant for you, they'll wait. They'll see you, really see you, and they'll stay. So here's my question for you. What would you do if someone overheard your deepest confession? Would you run like Isabela did, or would you stay and face the fear of being truly seen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and remember, sometimes the thing we're most afraid of showing someone is exactly what makes them fall in love with us. Don't hide your truth. The right person is waiting to hear it. The end. Thank you for staying until the end. If Isabela and Lucas's story made you feel something, if you laughed, cried, or saw yourself in their journey, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It's free and it helps others find this story. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.